3 recap of FJ's AEW Draft League Season 1. A massive cooldown week that AEW sorely needed. That I sorely needed from all that product last week between WWE and AEW combined. Where the best wrestle needed a slower paced week like this to rest their talent as well as begin setting up things heading towards redemption on the 26th and beyond as well, with Grand Slam Mexico in Wembley next month. A short chill week means a short chill intro, and honestly video overall. But I have a couple of fun things at the end. So let's dive right into week number 3. I'll be going over each roster in alphabetical order each week now, by the way. I don't know why you need to know that, but now you do. Chibi had a pretty good week this week, thanks mostly to Hikaru Shida winning the vacated TBS Championship over Harley Cameron, Micah, Queen Aminata, Persephone, and Chris Statlander in that survival of the fittest match on Dynamite. Shida is an AEW OG, so while I would have rather seen someone like Persephone or Queen Aminata win, I'm fine with a short title reign if this is going to be one of her last. David Finlay was also officially on his team this week as well. Chibi also got an appearance from everyone on his roster aside from Brody King, which is always a good thing for your points in a given week. FJ had a very balanced yet uneventful week, aside from Persephone getting to the final 3 in that TBS Championship Survival of the Fittest match. Otherwise, everyone was just on TV, aside from Okada, who I hope hasn't been infected by Lio Rush's bite somehow during the Death's Door match. He had a fine week with 9 of his 10 roster members also showing up on TV this week. Boy, does Kenneth Omega have a big match next week though against MJF. Goosh just keeps rolling along, joining Chibi and FJ in the 9 appearances this week club. Harley Cameron, her first official appearance on the team, and Mark Briscoe led the way while coming up short in their respective title matches. Everyone else had some kind of match or promo this week. I saw something about Briscoe possibly getting injured, so we'll keep an eye on that. Sorry for spelling your name wrong, by the way, Lena Cross. The first time auto-corrected me a few weeks back, and I just didn't notice. Magic is on life support, waiting for Dalton Castle and the Outrunners to please just come back to ROH, even if it's just another promo. I greatly miss Taz on commentary too, but otherwise, MJF had a great week for him, successfully defending his AEW World Championship against Mark Briscoe while getting a few points out of his other roster members. He's praying to whatever god or devil out there that Kenneth doesn't pull through next week, but I have something that may help him out in the coming weeks regardless. Mora just keeps on rolling as well, led this week by Kevin Knight successfully defending his TNT Championship against Lio Rush. Everyone else had at least an appearance with a match or promo as well, so welcome to the 9 out of 10 Cats Does AEW Club. Hell, Maya World had matches on Dynamite and ROH this week too, much like Magic with MJF. She's really hoping that Kyle Fletcher doesn't best Konosuke Takeshita for the international title before he takes off for the G1, which is starting this Saturday in Chicago, by the way. Also, anyone with dumbass visa issues, thanks to the US, I just hope they can get them sorted out, because someone like Mark Davis being gone really does stink. And last but not least, Reaper is the most consistent team thus far in my eyes, always having most of his roster on TV. Tony Schiavone, always having a promo, like Renee, and having people all over title matches and eliminator matches. While unfortunate that Lio Rush, Queen Aminata, and Chris Statlander didn't claim gold, it's fine. All these appearances add up and keep these wrestlers in the minds of the viewers. Lio Rush might be his unsung week-to-week hero thus far, since he's just been awesome since his Black Heart gimmick started. Ring the bells, turn on the sirens, oh my god, it's FJ's redemption arc! As you'll see momentarily, Chibi and especially Magic are struggling. So, in true pro wrestling fashion, I'm throwing a meatball down the middle to these two teams, heading to AEW Redemption later this month. I have granted them both a rental draft, where Chibi got to pick 2 free agents, and Magic got to pick 3 free agents to have on their team up until the AEW Redemption pay-per-view itself. Basically meaning they get 3 weeks of TV, Dynamite, Collision, and ROH out of these picks. In return, before the Redemption pay-per-view, they must both drop 2 and 3 roster members, respectively, to get their rosters back to their original size. The 5 draft picks went as follows, as Magic took Juice Robinson, Colton Gunn, and Daniel Garcia, while Chibi took Mystico and Claudio Castagnoli. These 5 are bonus roster members on their team for the next 3 weeks, barring injury or something, because they sorely needed some help to keep up with the top 4 teams. Additionally, these 5 may not be dropped like your usual free agent adds and drops. The only way they will likely ever leave the teams is at the end of these 3 weeks, or if there is a sudden injury for any of them. Finally, before we get to the rankings for this week, I asked everyone what their favorite moments thus far 3 weeks in are. FJ said that Brody King going full Lucha Brody on Dynamite is living in his head. Mora and Goose were on the same wavelength and highly enjoying the constant absurdity of the Death's Door cage match at Forbidden Door. While Magic got even more specific in that match, because his moment was Leo Rush being in Roddy's bag during Death's Door. Chibi picked Kenny Omega and Zack Sabre Jr.'s match at Forbidden Door, while Reaper picked Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland's Forbidden Door match, which saw William claim his Wembley main event. And finally, we have the ratings for this week, with Magic in 6th place, being way behind now at only 66 points. But thanks to now having Rock Hard, Colton, and Danny Garcia on his squad, hopes to make up some ground in the coming weeks, and praying MJF doesn't lose to Kenny next week. Chibi in 5th with 85 points has been steadily improving, but is still also well behind the top 4, and hoping Mystico and Claudio will help him out in the coming weeks. He's got a solid roster that's loads better even in just 2 weeks' time. FJ slides back down to 4th with 110 points. Had yet another solid week, and if both his crew members hadn't had the week off in week number 1, he'd still be right there or a few points higher. He would really like for that Omega win next week to happen against MJF. Reaper slides up to 3rd with a 1-point advantage on FJ with 111 points. As I said before, he has one of the most consistent teams, so we'll see how these off days leading into week 4 treat him, as he's probably going to have a similar amount of points each week going forward. Big rooting interest is Fletcher to best Takeshita next week. And tied for 1st place are Goose and Mora with 116 points each. The ladies just keep on rolling coming out of Forbidden Door. Mora had Kevin Knight in My World, while Goose leaned on Mark Briscoe and Harley Cameron in their losing efforts. Regardless, both sit atop the leaderboard. Mora hoping that Takeshita doesn't lose next week to Kyle Fletcher, while Goose is hoping for Swerve to come back, and honestly just have everyone on her team getting some matches next week. And that's it! The lone MVP for this week is MJF with 9 points, but I ain't giving him a shout out by his lonesome because he liked that too much. Thanks for watching, and see you next week with our Week 4 update.